Okay, I finally got around to doing my heal scrapper guide for World vs. World. It just so happens we're able to do it on a reset night where I'm running with Air Guild, fighting alongside War Guild. Amazing night as always. So for the first part, it's actually 2 long fights, but it's very important that for these, if you watch nothing else, just watch these first 2 fights and the build section after. And remember, after the build section, I also have more fights to watch. We'll talk more about skill usage. I'll try to cover that in both portions. But just you can see, I have my arc DPS on the right hand side of your screen set up on cleanses, so you can see how well this cleanses and also heals. I mean, my sub stands really strong. So first we punch through the gate here. There's going to be a lot of fighting in and out of this choke, and then you're going to see us on the Lord, and that's where you see the even more of the real action. And so basically, when you play this role, you're just going through all your stuff off a cooldown, for the most part, when you're in the thick of stuff. You're always going to want to use, with the exception of skill 5 once in a while, you're going to use your bow skills on you or your party. And same thing with, obviously your elixir skills and everything else for that matter. So, just hang in and kind of watch what's going on. We'll talk about this, that, and the other thing. Right now the enemy's trying to push through the choke, and we're just going to hold them here. They bang their heads against this wall for quite some time, which is actually kind of surprising. The other thing you notice too, your 2 belt skills are the skills above the bow skills on my weapon skill bar. And the first one gives you super speed, F1 super speed, F2 is a stun break, and regen I tend to try to save the F2 skill for when I need a stun break. F3 is a poison field, which is good for downs or just engagement to limit the healing they receive till that's cleansed. F4 is the projectile dome, also gives you stability and a little bit of barrier. F5 is the gyro that gives you stability barrier, which I'm going to use right now. I usually don't use it, but I save it for a pinch like this. We're baby gated, so we can't move. So I drop that so then we can move out of there. It doesn't slow us down at all. I usually save the F5 gyro for eliminating downs or rezzing allies. It can eliminate up to 3 or res up to 3 per time you deploy it, per deployment. And again, if I think we need it for stability in a pinch, I like to help out. This build offers a lot in the way of boons, and if you've played Scrapper, it does a lot of stuff with combo blast finishers. Right now I'm working on also a guide for a roaming power DPS Scrapper, and it's a boon factory. And if you haven't played it but you fought other Scrappers, you're just like, why do they keep getting these boons? It's because they keep combo field blasting all their skills, and it's just absolutely ridiculous in some ways, but definitely nice when you're on the playing side of that and receiving those boons and benefits. And so you can see I'm trying to stay on tag. I have my personal target up. That's very good if you're in a Zerg. I showed another video how to choose your personal target. You can go into options, find set personal target, use that. So it's just one that doesn't move, because sometimes people use like just a regular Control T for target. You see the red target on top. Someone had done it. You can see the red offset on the orange on there. But that often gets changed. Someone else calls something out or whatever, and then you lose track of where the tag is if that's what you're using to help. So I'd recommend setting a personal target. That personal target will need to be reset each time you leave the borderland, or commander or your whole group leaves or changes borderland, so just remember that. But it's definitely very helpful. Or let's say you're doing something and you have someone in your squad you have to target for healing, like on the Spectre one that I did, that the guide. You can also do it that way for someone, so you can do a quick burst heal, or you just know where they are. Or let's say you have someone on Dragon Banner, you gotta protect them. Set it then, follow that person, keep them alive. Here we're gonna destroy the siege. These guys love siege, but that's okay, we love destroying siege. And I've done other healing guides. This is, again, I think this is my 4th or 5th. I've done one on Thief, one for PvE, but I've done a World vs. World Spectre heal guide. I've done the Scourge heal guide. I did the Healbrand heal guide, and I did the just recently the Spellbreaker heal guide last week. So this is the next one. I'll probably have one for most professions, if not all. I haven't decided if I'm going to do Elementalist yet. If I have a lot of people really wanting that, I'll get on there and I'll actually put the work in and learn it and do it. But that depends upon if anybody really is interested in that. And I'm not a fan of engineers really, but this Scrapper heal cleanse is amazing, and really I thought it was going to be complicated, and it's not as complicated as I thought it would be, and it really has a lot to offer just by way of variety. So here we're going to kind of peekaboo around the columns for a while in the corner, and you see we're going to stand up. Like already you can see I'm up to 899 cleanses. By the time we're done, that number is going to almost double. Legit. And you can see right now I'm just going through everything. And when you see I do the elixir, for those of you that haven't played this in PvE or had much practice with elixir gun, you're going to want to do your 3 and 5 first, and you do your skill 4. As your skill 4, what it does is it propels you backwards. If you don't want to fly backwards too far, you do a weapon swap right as you start to launch, and that'll halt your launch. But it is useful sometimes to backpedal quickly out of situations. So right now we're fighting, you can see the greens keep coming in, we're fighting a war of attrition runbacks. And we are holding strong for right now, which is amazing. I'm up to 1100 Condi clears. And you can see the sustain this build has. I mean, look at this mess we're in. We're just all stacked up here. You know, I'm getting help from allies, but I'm also helping them and just keep clearing Condis, keeping my sub standing, keeping the tag up. Just very, very, really impressed with what this video can do. Now, as a spoiler, we're going to lose this first fight, but I wanted to show this so you can see how long this build can keep you and your squad standing. And look, I'm up to 1300 cleanses. Too bad my gyros are all down. I can't drop them to Resum, otherwise I would. The F5 skill. But that's not going to stop me from continuing to heal and give those healing bursts. There we go, got a gyro up. Trying to get those downs up. Alright, we're coming near the end. We're just way, look at the damage they're pouring on us now, but still, good job those left standing. All the healers did well. It wasn't just me healing all these people. We had a lot of overlap, which just amazing that we stayed up for this long. And here we go. Still standing. Barely. Alright, so I got up to 1,565 cleanses. So I don't think we need any other. We could just stop the video here if we wanted, but part of this is our run. I want people to see me excited. 1.5 cleanses. Okay, cleanses, here we go. This is our second round back up. And spoiler alert, we're going to win this one, but it's still good to watch. And don't forget, as part of anything when you're running any build, any kind of fighting, positioning is important, right? You want to try and stay out of AoE garbage if you can. You want to try to use terrain to your advantage. You want to try to get people hung up on stairs and other obstructions if you can. You also want to break line of sight for those ranged people. Keep reflex and projectile destruction stuff down. Stability, of course, but positioning is key. You know, don't just throw yourself in a choke and stand there unless you are super confident that you can just face tank that. And always try to stay on your tag, otherwise you can see I sometimes stay to the back. I just always am gonna keep my peeps healthy. Helping my friend here make it in alive. He would have made it, but I was just giving a little help anyway. True believer and leaves no hero behind. Sometimes you do have to, but whenever I can avoid it, I will always try to avoid that. Okay, round 2. We're going to pull the Lord back to the corner. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to do one of the tactics that I like when people do is drop a shield gen over us, and that is very useful because everybody likes to use, well, not everybody, but you have certain alliances that really are in love with their siege, and so we're going to do this to protect us from all that crap they're going to be throwing on top of us, which I think is a genius tactic, you know, to be honest. I will say it's annoying when these other guilds will just siege you to death, but as annoying as it is, whether I like it or not, it is a viable tactic, and I can't really condemn them for that. Like I said in my last video, I prefer to be in hand-to-hand doing that stuff. But it's a wise tactic, especially if you're outnumbered, or if you're fighting a force that is really going to win, you think it's going to win, you need an edge, you need some help, and that's okay, it's part of the game. Alright, again, we're back where we are, but we have some Dragon Banner action there. Don't want to be standing in that. So we're better prepared with a shield gen. We're stacked nice and tight, and we just got to keep the heals going. So you can see me keep running through. You see I keep dropping the supply drop out on the group in the center, and I leave it up as long as I can because that net turret is really the reason, because it just messes with them, and then they either blow it up or I detonate it. Okay, still doing well with the cleanses. Okay, can't wait till my gyros come back up. I can use them more for downs or reses. Okay, they try to stun us and keep us in the Dragon Banner, which I'm kind of standing in like a fool till I move. There we go. Okay, health is staying up, cleanses are taking away conditions. Got someone down, but I'd already used my gyro. They're going to get them back up though. I'm going to help here in a second. Okay, they're getting a little bit more bold, trying to get closer. See, use my blast, it knocked me back a bit. I didn't weapon swap quick enough, but if you do, it stops you before you get too far. Just gonna drop the gyro on that guy that was down. Got a supply drop coming up again, coming off cooldown. Oh, they put us in our null field with the Dragon Banner. That was good. That was good coordination on their part. Of course, we're still standing in it, but we can out-heal that. Okay, reflex are good. And so remember, in heal kit, skill 4 is your big heal, 5 is a good one with some boons, 3 is your Conde Cleanse, 2 is bandages with regen, and 1 is just a perma low level healing, which you can just spam. Okay, see I stopped it faster that time. You see that when I hit the 4 on the elixir, I weapon swap. Doesn't change the weapon all the time, but it does stop or halt your backward movement, so you can still stay on tag and on stack. Alright, here we go. We got the ring up. We're going to cap this ring. And then after we cap this ring, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the build. And of course, you know, we talk about equipment. We talk about traits. And I pretty much got this build from Guildgen. There are other good sites that give good builds. My World versus World ones will usually come from Guildgen. And I guess MetaBattle has some good ones too. I used to use them. Sometimes I find they're a bit slower than Guildgen to update, but their builds are still good. So definitely no complaints there. Okay, so now we're just doing the tedious task of kicking people out. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to use a supply drop, see if I can just drop that down and keep that. I dropped that on the Lord so they couldn't res him. That's why I dropped throw these down behind the siege equipment, ready to be built. So yeah, that's another good thing for supply drop. If someone's trying to res a Lord, you leave that on there. It's going to help prevent them when you're otherwise engaged elsewhere. So that is all, and let's get to the build section. Good job, everyone. Alright, build and traits time. Let's break this down. So, of course, we'll start with the equipment. Armor, weapons, and trinkets are all minstrels. Runes are superior rune of the monk. And we're using weapon for a short bow, and on the short bow we're going to use superior sigil of concentration. And superior sigil of transference. So that's going to help. We've got plus 10 boon duration, and of course we're going to increase the healing. Okay, so next up we're going to look at your relic. Your relic is a relic of anti-toxin. Okay, now to the real nuts and bolts. Let's talk about the traits. So we have inventions, alchemy, scrapper. Inventions. Using a heal skill triggers a cleansing pulse around you, so you're gonna, every time you use a heal skill, you're gonna cleanse a condition from an ally up to 5, basically your sub, or the 5 or 4 closest to you. And then overshield, shield skills grant protection to nearby allies. Protection on you gains increased damage reduction. So now, instead of 20% reduction in incoming damage, it's almost 40%. That's nice for survivability, and you'll see how that happened. Well, you saw how that happened earlier. And let's see, grant protection to nearby allies when you use a heal skill, so that's good. Anything that reduces damage makes people easier to heal and harder to kill. Heal nearby allies when using a 2-belt skill. So, and remember, your 2-belt skills are any of these right here, okay? Your power and healing power increased while you have regeneration. So this is important. Because you have some skills that give you regeneration, so if you always have regen on you, which a lot of these traits also will throw on you, see some down here, and such, and especially F2 gives you 17 seconds of regeneration, and heal skill, infusion bomb, also regeneration. So while you have that going on, you're going to have plus 250 healing power, which is huge. So try to keep regen on all the time if you can. You can't always do it, but boy, what a help it is when you need to burst heal in a clutch situation. Okay, anti-corrosion plating. When you grant protection to an ally, cleanse conditions from them. Again, granting protection and using a heal skill. Those are cleanses built into doing just regular boon application rather than using your specific skill-specific cleanses. Okay, alchemy. This is nice. When you get struck below 75%, you get these boons: Fury, Might, Resolution, which decreases condition damage on top of other stuff, which is great. And Swiftness is always good. Mobility, I love that. Increase incoming healing effectiveness. Okay, so you gain increased healing when using your medkit. That's your heal right there, so that's good. Alright, drink lesser elixir C when you're using a heal skill. Again, we're converting conditions to boons. Same thing as, it's better than a cleanse actually. Okay, grant generation, remove a condition from an ally. So, again, regen is good. Heal yourself when you grant yourself a boon. Remove a condition from yourself when you use an elixir skill. Healing and kind removal. Great, and increases your concentration, which is always useful, because this does put out a lot of boons. Alright, purity of purpose. This just tells you when you would cleanse a condition from an ally, convert it to a boon instead. This will tell you what it does, and you get a 3-second cooldown. So, this is great. So you can affect multiple targets simultaneously. So not only are you cleansing conditions, this gives them boons. This just gives a list of what turns to what, which doesn't really matter to me because it's not like I can choose, but it's nice to know. Alright, Scrapper. You gain access to the function gyro, which replaces your 2-belt skill 5. Gain access to gyro skills. This is really cool, and I'm just going to I'll talk about this after, but this is cool. I'm going to talk about these 2-belt skills after. And these will change with whatever you use for your 2-belt skill. For instance, see bandage stuff. If we change our heal skill, comes to Blessing of Dwayne. It does a little bit different than, say, this one. Okay, then they all vary. And I got this build again from Guild Gen, just throwing that out there. Disclaimer. Okay, mass momentum. When gain might while you have stability, your function gyro applies stability to allies when cast. So we added that. That's great. Using a heal skill grants super speed in a radius around you. Using a heal skill associated tool belt skill grants you personal super speed. Now this is important. I want to cover this now before I forget. So if you look at this, you open it up, you don't see any super speed there, okay? Because this one is unique, because if you go to look at what it does, when you use your tool belt skill you get some healing, but that's where you and your allies get the super speed. Now this is actually really good because that means you don't have to use a skill off a cooldown here instead of here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. If you use this, you would get super speed here, but this would only be to your allies, and your super speed here self would be here. So when you have it combined with your allies and you on here, with one button you're all going the same speed, at least for a time. So I kind of like that. At first I was like, what, that's kind of lame, but actually it's not. It actually works to your benefit. Okay, moving on. Gain might while you have stability. Your function gyro applies stability to allies when cast. Again, you see that there. This will add it when you use it. Using a heal skill we just talked about. Function gyro grants protection to allies when cast. Using a healing skills associated to belt grants protection. So this is also nice. A percentage of the strike damage you deal is converted into barrier. Doesn't really do much for us because we're not DPS, but every little bit helps. It does pulse a little bit. Function gyro has additional charges. No longer has a recharge penalty. Grants barrier nearby allies. So that is right here, your function gyro. Okay, so given that, let's now talk about your tool belt skills. Okay, so these all have a cooldown, right? So this one gives you speed and protection and healing, less 6k healing, but that's only healing for you. This will give you 17 seconds of regen. It's a stun break, so oftentimes I'll hold on to that as long as I can and rely on medkit skill 5 to give me regen. And my party, this is poison. I love to drop this whenever I'm going into, crashing into the enemy lines, or if I'm around a bunch of downs and stuff cooldown, I'll drop that as well. That'll slow down their own rally. This is cool. This is great. Project a defensive dome and grants stability allies in the area, blocks missiles. This is good. This is that skill that gives you that dome. You see that dome right there. Okay. And then we have gyro. This is great. Gives you barrier, but I like this because I use this a lot for, in a pinch I use it for stability. But I'll also more likely use it for revives, because it'll revive up to 3 targets, or it'll stomp up to 3 targets. So that's what I use it mostly for, but if I need some quick barrier, quick stability, little protection and might, that's what we do. Okay, so now if we look at your bow is your attack, you have vulnerability and it shocks, so it hits like up to 3 targets. That's always nice. I just spam that when I have nothing else going on, which isn't often. This is good. So this gives you barrier, skill 2, might, chain reaction might. So if you drop this and hit it with another one, it explodes it and gives you the bonus. That's what all these have, the chain reaction. So it'll be with an additional field blast after that, additional combo finisher blast. So let's just talk about what they do. Might and barrier, a little bit of heal with some Condi removal, protection, Aegis, and incoming condition damage decrease, which is huge. And this is super speed, and this is also daze and stun. And you'll find mostly I'm using these on my party, right, and on me wherever I'm going. I will sometimes throw skill 5 on someone, on the enemies, if I'm trying to get a stun. Okay, now what I chose, we look at medkit. This is a generic straight up heal. See if I can heal this guy while he's not damaged. And then you have bandages, heals, and gives regen. So I'll use those. And then skill 3 is your Condi cleanse. So you're moving like 4 conditions per. And has a combo field of water. Right, this is a really good healing. Skill 4. Skill 5 takes a second, and then it explodes. There's your healing right there. So I'll come back to that, but you could probably combo that with skill 3. So let's look at Elixir Gun. Skill 5, some heal, Condi removal, has some pulsing, so that's good. And this is good too. This also removes conditions from your party members. So this one I'll often, and this just does a combo finisher blast. So you do this, skill 3, now skill 4, area cleanse conditions. So combining those is definitely useful. Okay, this is combo field light. So you could do skill 8, and you get in cleanse conditions from the blast finishers. So remember this, anything with your field, this build relies heavily upon, not heavily, but has additional bonus of combo finishers for cleansing. This is a combo field lightning, a little bit different, but this gives you barrier. So you get some swiftness, which is also good. And for in the Guild Gen build, they're using a mortar kit, and we'll go over this one first. I started with this one, and I used to use it, and it's still very effective. I thought about using it in the video that we just watched, but I still like supply drop, and you'll see why, or you did see why, because I'm actually putting this in the middle of the video. So here we go. So you have skill 1, it's a combo finisher, that's always useful. Skill 2, poison. Remember, this limits healing and adds Condi to opponents. Skill 3, chill, slows your skills, that's always good. Combo finisher ice, that gives you a chill. Skill 4 is, I like this one out of the mortar kit. 2 and 4 are my favorite ones. This blinds people, so for 5 seconds pulsing, they're gonna miss anywhere up to 5 attacks depending how quickly they're attacking. And this also removes conditions, right? So you can use it that way. And then skill 5, skill 5, and this gives you regen. And this is just some pulsed healing. And so we got poison and chill. So it adds that. So that's kind of cool. And I was gonna go back to this. If you do skill 3, then skill 5, so you got that combo blast area healing. So it's always good to try to do it in that order as well. Alright, so that was a lot of stuff we covered. Oh, and supply drop, almost forgot. So this does it's a combo finisher blast when you detonate, so I'll drop this. Usually it's like, say this guy over here, the defender's running or coming up to us, you've seen it, and then drop it because it stuns them. And then also one of your turrets, so you have a flame turret, you have the net turret. That's what I like the most about this turret. You have the healing one, which is it's kind of cool, but more for the net turret, which is cool. You can blow it up there. Alright, so that is a lot. I apologize, I get kind of convoluted when I talk, but hopefully this is helpful and makes sense. So let's get back to some fighting. Welcome to the second part of the video after the build section. Now we're going to do, we have some more fights, but none of them are as pitched as the other ones. But still, this also demonstrates now the aspect of we know that we can do the long sustain stuff, but what about quick burst, quick fights where you want to just kind of finish it before it really gets started, before they can get any kind of traction. So we have a few of these. We had red here. Again, you see I spam bow skills off cooldown on me and my party. I use supply drop also when we engage to kind of mess with the enemy's advance, or if you see them running away, I'll drop it trying to get straggled. Let's try to drop it right here to grab the guys on the back. Looks like I got one. So I try to grab the tail, pick that up. This is funny, they just decided to give up and they're going to run right off and they're going to fall to their deaths, except for 2. So that was kind of interesting. I think they were just tired of us, even though this is only, I believe, our second engagement with them on the map. The last one was the first. We didn't see much of red for the first hour. Okay, here we have green in the Tower Lord. Again, supply drop. You see that? I like to start with that. I got my dome down, and we're just going to come in. I'm using barrier. I'm using cleanse. I'm just basically, a lot of this stuff too, when I get ready, is kind of preemptive or right at the point of engagement, just to get us prepped. Because the more you can get booned up right before you engage, usually the better. So these guys are going to fake us out. We thought they were going to jump down off the ledge. I really thought they were going to port. But they come around the left side. And this is going to be a pretty hard clash, but we're going to kind of just push through and not give up. Punch right into them. And see that mess there, but you can see again, supply drop, bow skills before we had even really got to them, dropping gyros for stomps. And I think I ended up with 107 bags for the night, so I thought that was pretty good for a couple hours. Okay, green, this was a long one. There's more of a fight before I just showed this while we were taking the wall down. They kept pestering us because we're right by their spawn. But I didn't want this video to be, it's already pretty long, but I didn't want it to be long and any more boring than it needs to be. So again, I'm down there pushing a little bit, kind of pestering them, poking them a little bit, you know, cycling through utilities and such. Here's my supply drop. See, I got that interrupt, and you got a couple people immobilized. That net turret is money. I love it. I love it. And for more sustain, like I talked about in the mortar, if I was using mortar here, I would be dropping mortars. More so I'd use that on group again because you have the blast finishers, but only on group while I'm in the middle of it, right? Like we're all clashed together, because I don't want to waste the poison or the blind or the chill. I want to use that. Sometimes from a distance, so if they have a lot of range, I will use the poison off cooldown, and even the blind, it helps, but I think the blind is better when you're like hand to hand because they're going to be stacked right in it and they're not going to notice and they're not going to move. I find that a lot even with roaming. If you've ever seen any of my videos of me on my thief, I'll use a pistol 5, the black powder, which pulses blind. People will stand right in that sometimes and just keep trying to fight, and then you just burst them down and they don't even know why they didn't hit you, because they're not paying attention to the condies that are applying. Look at the edge of the screen turning black. So I kind of find that useful and helpful. Okay, so yeah, you see we run up and down here because we're just kind of the ebb and flow of battle. As they push in, we back off a bit. As they back off, we seize on that, try and grab some of the tail. And again, see I'm dropping poison there. I want to grab them if I can, have them running through it or leave it on their downs. Okay, supply drop again right there. It's gonna mess with them as they come up to the tower, so we just capped, and now we're gonna push them out because they know they've got nowhere else to go. And of course, finishing downs. Thank you very much. Alright, last fight of the night. Red was making a shot for the bay that we'd been controlling, and it seems like they just kind of lost the will to fight. They put up like a token resistance, they pause, and then they just run. They're still trying to drop some stuff behind them, which I appreciate that, a fighting retreat, and we're just going to kind of mow them down and call it good. Just another great night of fighting, of course, with Air and War Guilds. I think they work well together, and this is really the end of the video. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you for watching. Leave any questions about this in the comments, and have a most excellent day.